Okay, there we go. Sorry, just getting my verbiage started here, and I've already started on this, but you'll figure it out. I'm also got some allergies going on. I'm trying to figure out here which one of these two cards I want to use for what I've got going on. Now I'm making page 7 and 8, but I'm actually working on page 8 first. I think at this point I'm still thinking I'm working on page 7, but I end up putting it on page 8 and using the other one that you'll see a little later on. And so anyway, I'm just kind of evening this up. And of course I started with my working page, and I had this piece of scrap here from my black scrap, and I'm gonna get that sized up. I first start by putting a little score mark at a 1/2 inch, and that gives me a flap that I will fold over to make a flap on the page. Then I'm going to yes, put it away. I'm such a good girl, instead of laying both the pieces over to some side that I'll never find again. And yes, I do want it that long because of what I've got planned out for this. So I'll show you that in a minute. But right now I'm just making a little mark so that I can cut it on my little cutter here and get it to the correct size. And I'll put that scrap over for use later. Been doing really well at keeping up with my black scraps. I always end up, really trying to use all that stuff up. So, and here, speaking of scraps, is a little scrap of paper that is actually the same design as the red around both those pieces, but it's a different color. I never do really understand why they do that. There's my thinking fingers. When I'm tapping my fingers, I'm thinking. So we're going to try a few things. I still think I like the red, but I'm going to, I'm trying out other stuff. And that is super pretty, but obviously I didn't think it was pretty enough. Oh, see, I'm trying everything. Going through all my scraps, trying to see what papers I have that will work for this. This is the Couture collection, so it's kind of all about fashion and clothing and stuff like that, obviously, Couture. So trying to incorporate different fashion elements, I think that's really important for this album. So I obviously decided to go with the red strip, and I do the tried and true, honest, let's just match it up, flip it over and cut it. And honestly, right at the moment, I have no clue what I'm doing. Sorry. Okay, I've got my little ruler. Oh, hold on just a minute. I've got washi tape. That will help me hold that paper down. Of course, I'm going to put it on my skin so it gets that little bit of oil on it so that it's not going to rip my paper up. Very important. I hate when I have to pull that washi tape off and it pulls my paper. Then what am I going to do? Especially when I am scrimping around trying to make make do with what I've got. Okay, so it's pretty much perfectly 6 inches. So it's really easy to find my center, which is what I'm doing here. And both pieces what I'm going to be doing is getting my big bite out, and I must not have had this straight. There we go. I'm going to be getting my big bite out and putting some holes in that bad boy. There we go. Just kind of at every inch is what I'm doing. If you're following along, you can you can do this part or not. Again, it goes with putting elements of what you might find on clothing. Okay, and I put it at 1/8 of an inch hole, so it's the smaller hole, not the larger hole. And I'm just lining up those little marks that I made. And this way, both pages are getting the holes in exactly the same spot by having them together while I'm doing this. And I have the shorter piece flipped over so that the holes will be closest to the end that's actually going to be facing each other. You'll see when I flip it back over. So you're going to want to think of placement when you flip that paper over, that when you flip it back around, is it right side up, or you want to make sure that it's going to be working for you. This, fortunately, I didn't have to worry about that because there's no right or wrong way with that pattern. But the big thing is you want the holes on the holes that are on the closest to one edge facing the cards with the holes on on that side, because we're going to be lacing them together. Hopefully somebody's going to answer that phone. There we go. My husband knows I'm trying to do a voiceover, so he's hopping on it. So here I am just putting in some eyelets. And I know some of you had requested a tutorial on the Big Bite, and I truly am trying to work on that. I'd love to get this book done, and then once I get this book done, I've had so many issues. February was really tough for me, so I think I'm back on it for a little while anyway. So we're just getting the eyelets on this, and then we're going to put the eyelets on the other page too. Unfortunately, with the movie maker app that I found and bought and uploaded, it does not have fast forward, so you just get to watch me do it in real time and listen to me blabble blah 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 on and on in my scratchy froggy voice. Oh, good Lord. So these eyelets I've had for ever and ever, and they're like diamond shapes. They're pretty cool, and I thought they were perfect for this. I've got a lot of round ones, but I had found these, like I said, years and years and years ago, and I like them. Okay, just two more. Goes pretty quick. Can't get it lined up. There we go. Oop, it moved. There's always one in the crowd. Oh, it moved again. And I got it. That little bugger. Okay, put the Big Daddy away. try to keep my desk pretty clean, but it doesn't always work. Ooh, and I've been so good at remembering to ink. Yeah. I'm not really trying to get it on the edges. There are a few times that it's like, okay, I'd like to ink that edge up a little bit, but, that corner up or something. But I'm literally just trying to get rid of the white edge from the core of the paper. That's pretty much what I'm trying to do here. Okay. This is another scrap that I had. So I'm going to measure this and get it to be the right size for me. I really am enjoying this little cutter. Really, really, really. It's just nice to have this small little thing on my table and not have to pull out the big cutter all the time. Well, not that it's a big cutter, huge or anything. A lot of people have those big ones. I don't have room for one of those. One day, maybe. One day. Because they do a lot better job at cutting several papers at once, which would make some jobs so much quicker and easier. But for right now, sorry. Trying to keep up with my nose. Okay, so this paper, I'm actually going to be utilizing this paper on the back of the working sheet. And I'm also wanting the paper to be on the back of this little sheet that I'm making now. And I'm just trying to cut out just the little piece that I need. I'm getting the little edge, little sale barcode piece off there. I save all these because I get stuff off of them. Either they've got the decoration from the paper or they have a really cool name on them or something like that. So I am always saving these. Oh, just a little bit more. There we go. And I tell you, the first blade went pretty quick because it's see how horrible that is. The first blade made it cut into the plastic because that's what it has to run on. And as soon as it made its first cut, of course that dulled the blade out making that, but now that I've gotten the second blade on there, it's working wonderfully. It's just that first one takes a hit because it's got to cut into the plastic. So now you see I'm lining up my ladies, and then this piece of paper that I just cut, and it's looking like it's just a little bigger because I don't want it sticking out over the top of the paper. I want it flush with the paper. So I'm going to trim off just a smidge. Sorry I got that off camera, but I'm just taking off a sliver of paper so that it doesn't show. Okay. There we go. Now I've got everything kind of nicely lined up. I think I'm pretty happy with it at this point. You know, if you want your stuff to look nice, sometimes you gotta take the time to make sure things are lining up nicely. And, you know, I cut the two pieces of paper together for a reason, because I wanted these eyelets to line up while I was, you know, for this element. So, yeah, you gotta take some time, and you gotta make sure everything's gonna fit right and look right and be pretty. And now I'm sitting here trying to think of, because I actually want this to be a pocket. So I've got it, I put it where I wanted it, put the glue down, you know, flipped it over, put the glue down. So now it is adhered on one end so far. Not there, it's further down. Yeah. And so that's going to be part of the pocket. I'm just taking the little fuzzy things off from the paper. Oh, my dad found the, hopefully that's not too loud. My dad found the volume button for the TV. So hopefully it's not going to be irritating for you guys, because I'm pretty much in the only spot I can be in right at the moment. And I've really been waiting to get this done, because I haven't posted in over a week. So sorry about that. Excuse me. But between my allergies and the schedule that I had last week, it was just horrible. But it wasn't horrible. It was beautiful weather and all that kind of good stuff. I'm in Florida, so the rest of you guys are having a really rough time of it. And we're doing pretty well down here. So I'm sorry for all you people that are still frozen, and believe me, I'd rather be where you are than where I am, but this is where my family is. And yeah, I like 4 seasons. Florida has 2, hot and cold. And the cold one doesn't come very often. Oh, so I'm just starting to get laced up here, and you know, I've got the one side stuck down to the blue and white striped paper, and I'm just trying to basically for ease at this point, just kind of holding that other piece of paper, the thinner layer, so that I can weave this black satin ribbon. It is only one-sided black satin ribbon because I didn't have any two-sided. So I'm trying to keep the satin side up for the most part, so you'll see me at some point flipping it around. But isn't that going to be cute? Excuse me. There we go. I'm just trying to keep it all about the width where I'm going to want that piece of paper, so it's going to be easy for me to then to just glue it down at the end. Oh, that's so cute. But I think those little diamond eyelets are just super cute, and maybe a little more dressier, like it would be a dress, and you know, you're lacing it up in the back, like, yeah. So I love this paper. I have really enjoyed working with it, and if you guys haven't had the chance, I think they definitely have reissued it out, and I think it's so totally worth it to get some of it. Come on, come on. Okay, just one more. Yes, it looks very pretty. Now, come on. I'm trying to stretch it out a little bit, seeing where I'm at here on my, if my lacing needs to come out further or in, oh no, out a little bit. So that I can get it the width that I need it. Super cute. Alright, one more time. Let's get her done. Oh, I've decided to anchor down the one side that has the two pieces of paper glued together, and that will really help. By anchoring that down, it'll really help me to get this just the way we need it to be for, and there's no black border on the top and the bottom of the ladies, just on the sides. So I'm having the flap of paper that I'm gluing it on actually creating the top and bottom flaps around the ladies. So, you know, there's always ways around stuff. Black is one of the most forgiving, both in clothing and in crafting. So if you always don't get it just right, you know what? Use black. It hides so many more things than any other colors do. So here I'm going to go ahead and put down the little sheet of paper side. There we go. And I've just glued the edges down because, again, I'm making this a pocket. There, now I can get things snug as a bug in a rug, baby. Now this last time it's a little more difficult because I don't want to bend the paper a lot, but it's kind of all connected down, so yeah, see, I started to tie a knot in it, and then I thought, well, the knot that I just tied is not nearly as big enough to, it'll just go right back through that hole. What was I thinking? So I just snipped it off. Being real careful not to pull that up too high. And there we go. Excuse me. Come on, little bow. Oh, that didn't work. Try it again. If at first you don't succeed, try again. You remember that? And all the starving children in Ethiopia, that was a big one when I was little. You know, all those starving children. Here, let them have my peas. I'll be glad to donate them. See, I think I started to get myself a little bit more on one of the sides there and got all twisted up. Got it all twisted up. So, there we go. Okay. Got a long old piece and a short piece. Sorry, I'm moving off of out of the screen here. Just trying to get a bow made. Haha. Aw, isn't that cute? I love it. Now, I don't remember, I'm putting a little bit of glue right in the center of that bow so that it won't come undone. Excuse me. So there's my flap. I'm thinking about cutting a tag out, but I don't believe I do. Maybe I do. Maybe I do. I thought I didn't. But if I did cut it, I changed my mind that I didn't like it in there because I don't have it in there now. So, waste of a good piece of paper. I think I decided that it was way too busy. And go with something just a little more formal or sized up or something like that. So just don't know. Yeah, see, I just tossed that away, so I decided nah. Okay, cutting into another one of my 12 by 12 papers, which I am really low on right now. And my camera, I lost the download cord, and of course this is probably about a 5-year-old camera that I've been using, and it does really wonderful on the videos, but I could not find a video cord for it. And finally I did, because I was getting ready to have to go out and buy a new one. My SD card wouldn't load in my computer. It would load in my husband's, but my husband, likes having his computer to do the things he wants to do, so I can't just take his computer all the time. But I found a cord and ordered it, but it's coming from China. And so I have to wait. But so I've made my measurements and I'm cutting off my my page to use as my pocket. I believe this ends up being a pocket page. And whoops. Ooh, caught that. See, there's my trifold, and there's the end of my desk. Yeah, there we go. Oh, yes, it's all good. And see, and I went and I cut that all up, and I ended up not using it the way that I originally was intending, and so I wasted paper. But, or I thought I did, but then I decided no, I didn't really waste the paper. It's a nice pretty cut. I just love this paper, but I've used it how many times? A lot. And that is just, oh, see, thinking fingers. I'm not liking what I see. And you notice that. I'll do that when I'm not liking what I see. Yeah, my little thinking fingers. And this is from the same paper that, you know, obviously you can see between the threads there. It would have been really nice had they lined up perfectly up and down with the paper there, but I did not, unfortunately. I should have, but I did not take the time to make that work. But if you ever have lined paper or anything and you're putting a different element on it, take the time to line it up. If you're putting it on the same fabric, if you have the opportunity to line it up, you know, because all papers have a repeat. So every 4 inches or usually on 12 by 12s, it's like every 4 inches because it will repeat 3 times on the paper. Not always. And, but, yeah, if you got a chance to line it up, but it does mean that you are going to be wasting a little bit of paper by cutting off the part to get it to line up just right. So, you know, I don't have that luxury. I gotta keep every bit I can because I still have to make tags. I still have to make the big tags for in between the, you know, the in between the, for each page, the end of each page is a tunnel, and so I've got a big tag that's going to go in there. And shoot, that's, you know, like almost 8 by 9, so it's going to be a big tag, and it's going to have to be decorated. And all the little tags that go in there, I mean, I have a few from the paper line, but I've actually used all of them. I didn't have the luxury of keeping any of those out, so yeah, I got to use all bits and pieces and not really have the luxury of doing that kind of stuff. So now I've gone ahead and I've cut this paper out to fit. This is an old paper that I had dug through my stash that I've had for years and years. See if I can figure out which one it was to tell you. Let's see. Let me see here. I'm looking. Well, that's that one. But I've actually used quite a few different. I've got a Prima paper. I've got a We Are Memories Keeper. Got Tinkering Ink, which is really an old one. I've never heard of it. 2007, yeah. Kaiser Craft, Pink Paisley, Echo Park, Authentique, 29th Street Market, Oh, that's my mind's eye. Another pink paisley. That is my mind's eye. American Crafts. Webster Pages. Miss Caroline. Graphic 45. And pink paisley. But I got 2007, 2009, 2011. I mean, a lot of these papers are pretty old. Okay. So, I will be putting a magnet down, as you see there. And I just kind of figured out a good spot for it. But what I'm going to do is this is the one that I'm going to want, because I've got a magnet up underneath the two pieces of paper. You saw me doing that. Now I'm putting this magnet with the tape facing up on the other magnet. I'm getting my little flap right where I want it, centering it from top to bottom. And then I'm going to push down. And voila! It's right where it belongs. And now I'm taking off the little masking tape, the cover off of the glue that was on the... Now, what would have been better for me to do with why it is hooked to the magnet, just flip it over and glue it down. Not that I had any problems with it doing it later on, but I think it would have just made sense that while I had it right where it needed to be, I would have just flipped it over and glued the little flap down to the back. So this is another striped paper from the 8x8 pad that I have, and I kind of like it, even though it's almost exactly the same. These are two different paper lines, but the colors are so close together that it really didn't matter. They work very well together. And I'm just going through all my scraps right now, trying to figure out what I'm going to like the best. I had Leslie ask me, do I know, excuse me, when I start an album, do I know what I'm going to do? Do I have it pictured in my head, or or do I? Let's see. Do I have it pre-pictured in my head? Do I have it? Templates that I go by that I just kind of flip through, find the template that I want, and use it that way. No, I am not that organized. And I like to make them different. I get bored using the same stuff all the time. So I don't think I'm a template kind of girl. The only thing I keep some templates for is my journals and the different size pages. I've got the templates to poke the holes in the pages, and that's about it. Everything else I just I fly by the seat of my pants most of the time. Most of the time it works out really well for me. Sometimes not so much, but yeah, I'm kind of fly by the seat of my pants gal. I tell my husband all the time, hey baby, this is a package deal. You gotta take the good with the bad, or the bad with the good. But I think there's times that, especially, I think the next page that I'm doing, especially, it kind of was created around a piece that I had left. So I'm just gluing this down on the left side of the score mark for the flap. So it's not on. You don't ever want to get anything on the score mark, or but you don't want to even butt it up against. You want to leave at least a 1/16 to an 1/8, whatever your border is. But you get the border a 1/16 or an 1/8, well, a 1/16 away anyway, away from the score mark. And then you start your border, and then you glue your paper on, if that makes sense. Because you don't want to hinder that flap at all. You want it to lay down on your page. If you get the paper too close, 90% of the time, that's the reason why your flap is not laying down. Or it will lay down, but it's going to fold up the paper that you have, that you had put there. So it's best just to give it a nice little clearance. Okay, and I honestly have really enjoyed having this lattice arch for this whole process, because it has been really cool, and I've tried to put it on as many pages as I could without it just being overkill. But I'm doing this on the little inside flap. And I'm going to line it up and make little marks and cut it for what I need. Hopefully I will bring this over so you can, I've got the lattice arch right underneath the camera. Why I'm working off to the side, I have no clue. I'm sorry. I'm making a little pocket, and for some reason, when I glue the black down, well, I'll tell you when I get there. Right now I'm measuring up my little striped piece of paper to get it so that it will fit. And I am actually hand cutting something, believe it or not. And the main reason is because I'm working with the lattice on each side, lining it up so that it'll have a nice finished edge to it. But for some reason, when I go to glue down the black, I glue it down just like it's another piece of paper instead of leaving it as a pocket. Not really sure what I was thinking there, because normally I would make it a pocket. So it ends up where the blue striped paper is the pocket, and that part that I'm gluing down is just a decorative element on the page. Dummy. And that means I'm also putting glue on top of my magnet, which is not ever a good idea. You can put the double-sided tape, but when you just start sticking the glue down on there, that kind of makes a different kind of barrier. But then there's that piece of paper and the blue piece of paper where I should have glued the magnet under this little blue stripe paper and had the black paper opened as the pocket, and then I would have had a much better magnet to magnet hold. Still works still works well, but not as well as it would have if I would only have had, you know, 2 pieces of paper in between. So now I have 3 and some glue. It does still work, but yeah. Yeah, I still don't understand why I glued the black down. Okay, so now I'm finally going to put this down, lining it up. I'm feeling to make sure that I've got the magnets sitting on top of each other. That's what I was pushing down there in the center. There we go. Okay, I think I'm thinking about what I'm going to do next, because it really didn't need to be rubbed on that long. Isn't it cute? Okay. Yep, open, shut. See, and I'm realizing that it's not clicking. You know how when you open and shut it and it clicks? That's when you know you got, you know. Okay, so here is, what did I page? 7 and 8. So here is actually page 7. The one we just finished is page 8. And that is a 4 by 9 3/8 size. Again, it was a piece that I had cut off. That I knew, okay, let's see what I can do. But actually, the page that you see next to you with the lady, I mean next to me, not you, you're on the other side of the table. But the page right to the right of my arm here, where the lady and the roses or flowers, whatever those are, that is the page that's kind of inspired this page. And I had that page, yeah, I had that page left. And so that's kind of why I'm doing what I'm doing. So these 2 pieces ended up making it work pretty well. Now, obviously this time I was kind of prepared. 6 by 10.5, and on 3 sides, 1/2 inch score marks. Okay? So sorry. I'm trying very hard not to do that. Okay, I'm running this through my Xyron machine because I am going to be doing something a little different, and I need good coverage. There we go. I love that Xyron machine. And I tell you, when I bought it, if I would have known that there was a 12-inch one, I would have gotten that. I barely have room for the 9-inch one, but there we go. Want to do that really, really well, because the glue is on the white piece of paper, not the clear. And so when you burnish it, you're actually burnishing the glue that's left onto the clear piece of paper. So that's alright. Pulling it up now. Ta-da! Come on, get off. There we go. Okay. Now this is some ribbon that I picked up at a garage sale. No, a thrift store. I think Mom and I picked this up at a thrift store. And you've seen me use it on page 6? Yes, on page 6 I used it. And I thought, well, you know what? It would be really nice to use it again. Because it's me and that. Let's not just use an element once on a page. Let's, you know, use it more than that. So I'm pulling it down so I don't have the roses matched up. There was a little piece hanging off the edge there. I didn't want the roses matched up perfectly. I wanted there to kind of be a little bit of difference, so I pulled it down just a smidge. Not much. It would have been better a little bit, but I'm not great at wasting stuff, so. And there's the piece going to come in. But I really despise using glue, and this ribbon is actually super thin, super thin. It's almost like a organza. You can kind of see through it. But it's black, so it's really hard to see through. I don't know, but and it's got all those little holes in it, so it adds a bunch of texture to it. Now you saw me measure this piece, so that it'll fit. Oh, and I'm inking. I'm doing so well at inking. I love that stuff on the back, and I have found very little bits of anywhere that I could use it on, and I think I finally have found something to use it on, but we'll see what ends up with. The last 4 pages, I think I've lost them on my camera, so I am going to do a video where I explain what I did, and hopefully they're fairly simple pages. Now all I did there was add enough glue around the edges so that when it goes down on the ribbon they're getting glued, because I've got the Xyron glue everywhere else. And down. About time. There we go. Trying to make sure I didn't put it down crooked, because I am not good at eyeballing. Looks like I did put it. No, I don't know. Did I? Alrighty. And I did put it down a titch crooked. And I think it really shows up once I do this that it was a titch crooked. But I get a way of fixing that too. And I was really surprised, but this did really well. I think I got something stuck in it once. But I think I also would have done well had I burnished before I did this. You know, so you always want to, when you put stuff down on this, you always want to burnish it, because it just helps that adhesion much better than if you don't burnish. But I was wanting, I mean, this is one thing that I wanted to do, but then I was like, wasn't quite sure. I did try it on a different piece of paper before I did this, but you know, I just did it once and I went, okay, that worked, and then I was like, oh, but what if I really muck it up and gum it up? But it didn't. It was because I've used it quite a bit since then, and it's just running along smooth as silk. Yeah, there was one little bobble there that just didn't get cut off. Now this is where I got something stuck in there and just there. There we go. All better now. Yeah, I forgot that that's all glued up. All those pretty little sparkly bits. Pretty little sparkly bits. You know, aren't we horrible? All of us are kind of like, ooh, sparkly, and we're gone. I know I am. I'm horrible. Something catches my eye, I have to sit and stare at it for a little while. Do I like that? I like that. Come on, let go. Let go. You just gotta be patient. Just gotta be patient. At this point, I was like really worried that I was gonna muck this thing up. And again, if I would have burnished, I don't think I would have had the problems that I did have, which really amounted to not a whole lot of nothing, but it really is pretty with that ribbon. Now, this is not regular, like I said, this is really thin ribbon. And so because I don't think it would have worked with like real ribbon. This is kind of, it's not paper per se, but that's kind of what it feels like. Okay, and just kind of working with that arch and cutting down to where it's going to leave a nice pretty end to it, and then snipping the rest of the way. And angling the flap down a little bit. There we go. And I'm taking these the corners off so that there we go. Gets rid of all the extra added bulk. Cleaned all that out. I'll clean all this up and I'll get my pocket on. What a mess. Okay, so this is my pocket. Just adding a little bit of glue onto that just so it makes sure it adheres well. Especially where that ribbon is, because there's no glue there. Excuse me. Okay. This is really a pretty... Oh! Ah! Yes. If at all possible, you always want to be able to wrap it around the outside, and that is the way that I cut this and scored this, is so that it would score, go to the outside of the working page here. It's always better for me, in my opinion, if you can wrap it this way around your page, do it, because then you have the full enchilada, the full pocket to use there, and you're not going to get stopped with all of the little edges or anything. It's just way better. But boy, is it tough with all this gluey bits on there, because they keep wanting to stick to my fingers. I'm stuck. But there is my page. Super cute. Yeah! thumbs up, baby. And like I said, this is the where I'm fixing that it's crooked, because it is a bit crooked, and I don't know if it ever is still enough for you to actually see that. So I'm just taking this Fabri-Tac and just right down the edge of the paper. Whoop. And I'm using, I've gotten a lot of good use out of my black ribbon with this black patent. You know, it's a satin sheen, but it kind of reminds me of patent leather and that kind of thing. So I'm giving it a little pull to help it make sure it's straight. You just take both edges and just kind of pull it. And just getting a little bit of the glue that runs out of it. So there's that piece. Just kind of hides where the paper is to where the, but it's the other side. I don't know if you can see it now. There's like quite a bit of difference between the top and the bottom. And when I ran that scallop, that lattice edge on it, you notice. Now here, I'm putting the glue off paper, and in the center, I switched over to on paper. Okay? So, I'm creating the illusion that it's straight. I'm looking for my lighter because I want this end to not unravel on me. Remember, you don't have to get it right on it. You just have to get it close up and watch it melt. Especially when you're this close to the paper. Yeah, let's not go there. The other end I decided to fold over. And so I'm just waiting for my glue to get up to the top. I'm sorry, I didn't get the volume turned off, so you're hearing me talk to my husband while I'm explaining to you what's going on. I thought I had the volume turned off of this one, but hey, it's always exciting. So I'm off the paper at the top, and I'm on the paper at the bottom, and I'm on the paper the whole time, but I have, you know, I'm working from one edge to the opposite edge so that it gives the illusion that it's now straight. And I am putting a little extra glue and folding these over instead of cutting them off so I don't have to take a chance of burning my paper. As you can see, I'm not putting much glue on, and I'm just pulling it over and giving it a second to grab. A place there where the paper wasn't staying glued down. Okay, now I should be cutting that off. Yes. Flipping that over, and ta-da! Just rubbing a little bit of that glue out. But that's one nice thing about that Fabri-Tac. Well, and then I'm going to be bringing the other page over so you can see both of them one last time. Now that Fabri-Tac, if you get any and You don't let it like dry. You just rub on it and it just balls right up. And rubs right off. It's really nice. So, yes, 2 thumbs up. Now where's the other sheet? There it is. There it is. Nice pocket right there. And that is 3 3/4. Yeah, I get it in angle, get it right so you can see it. So I show you at 4 and I take you down to 3 3/4 because that's where that is. And then there's the 2, and a little later on I'll show you, next video I'll show you where I ended up putting them. Okay guys? Thank you so much for watching. Hey, subscribe to this channel. Give me a thumbs up if you like it. Okay? Talk to you later. Bye.